we are working with, even for them, they can download our app, apply for a loan, get a decision, all in under 15 minutes. For an entrepreneur, the biggest challenge in the business is hiring talent.
So, sir, as we go on, with EVs becoming the next big thing, would you specifically look at Tier A as your major market, or would you still be concentrating more towards Tier B, Tier 2, Tier 3 cities?
I think it's going to be all, to be honest. We started building in Tier 2, Tier 3, and there's still a huge market over there. And that market, in my opinion, is going to expand to about 5 times the size it is today in the next 2-3 years. Having said that, there's also a lot of activity happening in Tier 1 now, especially adoption of EVs for last mile delivery, etc. is becoming very
Even taxi services.
Taxi services and your e-commerce logistic deliveries and so on and so forth. I think it's gaining popularity. So again, I see that as a huge opportunity, and we are working on that space as well. So I would say we'll scale both. So far, we've been focused on Tier 2, Tier 3, but now we're also getting into Tier 1. So we'll start scaling both, and hopefully we'll have Tier 1 and Tier 2, Tier 3 almost an equal split between.
So as much as I read about Revfin, so as you said, you're partnering with organizations. So it's still not available for customers for their personal use. They're available for the professional use. So do you plan to enter into the personal use market as well?
Honestly, we don't have any plans at the moment. I don't think we add sufficient value to the personal use customer.
So, sir, very different off the topic. What does Revfin mean? Why Revfin?
Revolution in finance we started. And we said that's a very long name, so we should cut that short and make it Revfin.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's a good one. But how important is the brand name, especially for a startup? Do you go for something which is catchy? Do you go for something which tells what the product is? What do you look for in a name generally when you're coming up with a name?
I think first you have to think about what is the who your customer is and what is the product or service you're offering. For certain consumer brands, a very catchy brand name becomes very, very important. And if it also tells what they do, it's even better. From our perspective, I'll be honest, I think we don't probably have the best brand name because it doesn't tell much about who we are. And it's not very catchy as well. To be honest, it's a bit difficult.
Revfin does sound pretty.
Yeah, but that's so. When we started, the idea was somewhat different. Like we want to, as I said, create a revolution in the way loans are given, right? So our brand name was based more on our intent rather than a specific customer segment that we were going after, which came later on. And throughout the journey, we've always thought about whether we need to have a different brand name for the specific loan categories that we are doing. And for that very reason, that should we have something more catchy and things like that. Things like take a loan lay low or something like that. Right? So, but we chose to not do that because having multiple brand names is also very, very expensive. And because we don't have a very direct sort of a advertising, branding kind of a model.
And it also might be getting expensive, confusing for the customer.
It gets confusing, but for the customer, you can actually hide the name. You can just put in front of them whatever brand you want to put in front of them. Right? But a lot of our model is driven through partnerships with manufacturers, with fleet operators, etc. And then through them we get access to our customer base. So we didn't really feel that we needed to spend all that money, energy, time in creating a more catchy brand. Maybe sometime in future we will do that.
So going into the similar startup direction, 2 questions for you. So firstly, so you started from IIT Kharagpur and you worked at HSBC in London, as you said. So ये दोनों names कितने help करते हैं investors के सामने funding raise करते हुए?
देखो ऐसा होता है कि पहली मीटिंग तो मिल जाती है फिर उसके बाद it doesn't matter, right? But I think for that first meeting it's important.
And the second question in a similar direction. So we've always heard these numerous instances in which founders raised money but they were not able to handle the cash properly. So how do you, what's your opinion, and how much do you believe that raising, it's more difficult to manage your cash flows than raising funds?
I think both are important. Okay, so I think so. First of all, I think the ethos behind your business is the most important. Like I said, my intent has always been to build a profitable business, and I think in a way it is good not to raise too much money very early. Because when you have too much money, then somewhere along the way you just want to deploy all that money, and therefore two things happen. One is you stop being very innovative, because you just think, okay, this is the model, you just scale it, and second, you get a bit reckless with that money. Right? So I think as a startup, startups are generally organizations with very limited means, right? Whether it's be human resources or it's capital, etc. So I think it's good to have certain constraints. That helps you really innovate and grow much better. That's one. So I don't think startups should think about raising a lot of money very quickly. They should first think about building a good business and then raise money. And also, it's very important to maintain discipline. Once you raise money, just because you have money doesn't mean you have to spend it. You have to be very, very disciplined in the way you conduct your business. I think if you're able to do that, then I think it works.
So now that we're talking about raising money, we know the show which has become very popular, Shark Tank. Have you ever, thought of registering for Shark Tank? What do you plan to do in the future?
So do you think this buzz around so much money putting up into these new age startups by these founders, and is it right, or is it just a big bubble that may burst or may not burst in some time?
You're talking from a Shark Tank perspective or just generally?
So we're seeing that there are a lot of startups getting funded by these people, by founders.
By founders.
Right? There's a lot of money coming up into this startup ecosystem.
I think that's great, right? It's great that startups are getting funded. And I'll tell you from my own experience, it's always, when you raise your initial rounds of funds, it's always better to raise it from entrepreneurs. Because they've seen that journey, they've seen the ups and downs of the journey, they understand it. So they're not necessarily just professional investors, right? The kind of support that entrepreneurs can provide to you. And support not only tells that they're going to come and build a strategy, not like that, but also that sometimes when the going gets a bit tough, they're not very imposing, they're not like asking you to give them returns at that time. They know these things happen, they'll keep calm. Right? I think that's very important. So I think it's good if startups are able to raise early rounds through entrepreneurs. I think that's a great thing. From an entrepreneur's perspective, also it's great because you know that you build your business in a certain way and it's scaled at a very rapid pace. You know other entrepreneurs are also capable of doing that. So that's a great way to kind of make your money through other startups, make money through other startups, and also you are yourself limited to one startup at a time. Right? You can't. One thinks in their mind they can build 10 companies at the same time, but it's not possible. Right? So it's best to invest in other founders who can help build those other organizations as well.
So today, if I want to become like an entrepreneur, I have an idea. What would be the tips that you would give to, especially college students or high school students who do want to make a career, maybe start something of their own? What would be a few tips that you would like to give to them?
And there's no few tips. It's just very simple. If you want to do it, just start doing it. Don't think too much. If you think too much, plan too much, it's not going to happen. Just start doing it. Don't worry about होएगा नहीं होएगा, पैसे नहीं है, funds नहीं है, all those things. लोग क्या कहेंगे? If you start thinking a lot about these things, it will never happen.
And do you believe there's a right timing, or
there is no right timing? Right? Everybody has their own journey. I started at the age of 35. Right? Some would say that's early, some would say that's late. Honestly, if you ask me, early 20s is the best time to start because you can do a lot more, you can take a lot more risks, and you don't have to do liabilities and things like that. But otherwise, there's no right or wrong age. When you start early, as I said, you can make a lot of mistakes and recover from those. When you start late, you can't make mistakes. So I don't have any plan B. I said, I'm all in, and I can't get it wrong. I have to get it right. So that's how I think. but obviously when you're younger, you have a little bit more flexibility.
So if you could go back in time and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Uh, be bold.
Big one.
Yeah, because I think we're very shy, or scared. We don't want to ask people things. Like I said, we don't want to write to people on LinkedIn, and you don't want to necessarily do things for fear of those things not happening, etc. So I think I've personally missed out on a lot of opportunities, both in my previous professional life and now as well, just because I've not asked for those things. I've been a bit bashful asking for those things. Just be bold.
So I have one question, which is again something which is a little bit off the topic. If there's one craziest place you would want to drive an electric vehicle, where would that be?
Crazy place where I would want to drive an electric vehicle.
Any place.
I don't know. I guess anywhere in India is crazy enough to drive an electric vehicle. To be honest, in small towns, I think that would be great. And I would like to do it only because I would want to test the robustness of the vehicle.
Alright, sir. So we're moving towards the end of the podcast, our last section. So it's a rapid fire round for you, and we are from the HR team of Revfin. You've come for an interview to apply for a job at Revfin, and we have 5-6 basic HR questions for you. But your answers need to be rapid and you need to be honest.
Okay.
And you need to be fast with your
I
answers.
shall try. I'm really bad at these things. But
Alright, so shall we begin? Who is Sameer Aggarwal outside his CV?
I am the father of 2 beautiful boys. That's my identity these days. Other than that, I like to do a lot of adventurous things, fast things, driving fast cars, free falling, things like that.
Why do you want to work for this company?
I think this company is at the threshold of something really very big. I think intersection of electric vehicles and fintech. I think it's a great place to be. Both those sectors are driving sectors. Whilst there's already both these sectors have achieved some scale, but the overall penetration with respect to the country is very, very low at the moment. So I see a tremendous opportunity for this organization to scale, given what it's doing, and also that creates an opportunity for me individually also to participate in that growth journey.
What is your weakness?
My weakness is that I take care of everybody's interests before my own interest.
How do you deal with criticism?
Depends who it comes from. Mostly I don't care too much about criticism because I am my own biggest critic. So whatever people say to me, I've already thought about it before they've said that to me. So in a way, it becomes easier to deal with it.
What do you think is better? Being perfect and delivering late, or being good but delivering on time?
It depends on the circumstance. I think if you're in a startup, you have to be really fast. You don't have to be perfect, but you have to be really fast. I think in a larger organization, you need to be more perfect, but you're okay to be slow.
Last question for you. What would you prefer, being feared or being liked?
Again, it depends on the circumstance. Mostly, I would prefer being liked. Sometimes I like to be feared as well.
Mr. Aggarwal, congratulations. We are hiring you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
So before we conclude our podcast, if there's one message that you'd like to give to college students, any message, the camera is there, you could give a short message.
Okay, so the message is very simple. I think you are just getting started with your life. There's a lot of opportunity, and I also believe that this is the best time to be in India. And the kind of opportunity that India presents is just unbelievable. I think as students, what you need to do is make sure that you develop your skills. When I say skills, I mean not just hard skills, but also soft skills. In fact, hard skills are easier to develop, and you will realize that when you go into a professional environment, most of the hard skills you learn are probably not very relevant, and you'll end up learning a lot of new skills. But I think soft skills, building your personality, having a lot of different experiences in life are very, very important. So please do a lot of different things in life, create a lot of experiences for yourself, and always be bold in whatever you do. That's it.